Ladies and gents, welcome back. So the Emergencies Act has been invoked in Canada. Sorry, I'm tripping up because it's called the War Measures Act before it was called the Emergencies Act. Has been invoked in Canada. And what does this mean? What does this mean? So a lot of people have been trying to bring their support whatever way they can for these protests. And one way people were doing was donating money to allow them to have fuel, food, and what have you while they're staying there in Ottawa. Now, the federal government has stepped in and is seizing seized the finances. They have stepped in. It looks as though the Bitcoin wallet has changed. I don't know anything about Bitcoin and donating to Bitcoin, but the wallet that was the campaign has changed. It's no longer a campaign. If you go to Give, Send, Go, you get a 404 not found. Give, Send, Go. Oh, sorry, for the campaign. Give, Send, Go as a larger website is currently down. It's currently offline. And they have yet to make any statement on Twitter as to what is going on with that. Now, yesterday, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister stepped up to the podium to say that the Emergencies Act, they're going to be broadening Canada's terrorist financing rules. So now they're declaring the protest terrorist organization, apparently, rules so that they can cover crowdfunding platforms and cryptocurrencies to the Canadian Freedom Convoy.
We are announcing the following immediate actions. First, we are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies. The illegal blockades have highlighted the fact that crowdfunding platforms and some of the payment service providers they use are not fully captured under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. Our banks and financial institutions are already obligated to report to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FINTRAC. As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC.
So that was the Canada's Deputy Prime Minister saying basically that if you are caught giving money to a trucker, they're going to seize your bank account. Now, this is, egregious. We don't know where this is going to stand in the courts, because I'm sure there's lawyers getting on this immediately to challenge it, whether this is legal or not, with whether they have the ability to do this. This is unprecedented, so we don't know yet where this is going to stand in the courts. Now, we have had another time in history when a minority government came to power and wanted to enforce its will on the people. And in order to do so, they took extraordinary steps in usurping power. Now, before you guys start calling me out for Godwin's Law and calling people with having funny mustaches, Viva Fry posted this earlier this morning. So far, Justin Trudeau is proving to be a lot more like Funny Mustache Man than funny haircut guy ever did. I've got to watch what I'm saying now on YouTube. This is incredible. In January 1933, the Clankety Clank Party leader, Mr. Mustache, funny mustache man, convinced President Paul von Hindenburg to appoint himself as chancellor, the head of the German government. 4 weeks into his chancellorship, the Reichstag building caught fire in the middle of the night. Funny mustache man blamed the incident on the communists and was convinced the arson was part of a larger effort to overthrow the German government. We've heard words like that recently. Using this justification, funny mustache man persuaded Hindenburg to enact the Reichstag fire decree. The decree abolished most civil liberties, including the right to speak, assemble, protest, and due process. During the decree, the Clankety Clank organization declared a state of emergency and began to arrest, intimidate, and purge his political enemies. Communists and labor union leaders were the first to be arrested and interned in the first Clankety Clank organization Happy Fun Time camps. By clearing the political arena of anyone willing to challenge him, Funny Mustache Man submitted a proposal to the Reichstag that would immediately grant all legislative powers to the cabinet. This would, in effect, allow Funny Mustache government to enact without concern to the Constitution. So we should be very weary of what's happening in the coming days, weeks, and months, and what kind of powers the Canadian government is trying to usurp over the governed. We already know that they've lost the consent of the governed, which is the reason they exist. So, and nobody's calling for the abolition of the government. Nobody's calling for that. What people are calling for is the reinstatement of our institutions and a democratic society and a constitution that has civil liberties under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So that's all I got for you right now. Tune back in later, and as always, keep on trucking.